Hello, and welcome to Fading Suns Thursday on the Ulysses International channel. I am JM, your GM, and we are here at the end of a very long Fading Suns game. We are well into the third year of this game. I think, if I'm doing my math correctly, we are nearing the end of the third year of this campaign. And as we bring 2021 to a close, we are also bringing our Fading Suns and the crew of the Oh Boii story to a close. For those of you who have joined the Ulisses channel and followed along with this, thank you. To those who are fans and patrons at Iconic, thank you as well. And we are going to get into it. So when we last left our crew off, they made the jump into Milan space, aided by the Imperial Watch and the fleet of House Hawkwood ships. They managed to break through the blockade, and thanks to some daredevilish stunts by Captain Calypso Mars and some sharpshooting from Val and Gemma, they managed to escape the two interceptors that tried to stop them and made their way into the event horizon of the black hole, where they found Milan Station, rimed in ice, fractured in the shape of feathers. And several of the crew saw darker things moving about in the vast, cold emptiness of this black hole. The crew managed to dock with the station, but not before Gregor suffered radiation burns, keeping the ship flying. As the crew suited up, Lucia stayed with Gregor in order to tend to his wounds and help do the repairs to the ship, as his hands, well, it's unknown the current state of his hands. But as they got to the airlock, they saw that the airlock was filled with a murder of crows. And it was at that time that Perpetua walked into the hall, and fulfilling her role as guide, as passed on to her from Father Bell, Perpetua was basically self-immolated and took out all of the crow spirits. And so before we begin and zoom in on the crew, first there's the sound of buzzing. A persistent buzz that is interrupted every so often with the sounds of something soft being gently dragged across something wet. The sounds of fluids being wiped away. Sound of a door hissing open. My lord, they have landed, and they brought her. She is primed. The buzzing stops. Then the time is near. But be careful. We must make sure all of the prophecies are respected. Even the false ones. Continue. The buzzing continues at rhythmic intervals. As the crew, as Gemma stands in the hallway, the last motes of light that was Perpetua fading away. And she can see again the ashy mark at the far end of the umbilical that connects the station to the Oh Boii. She can see dark shapes moving beyond the tinted glass on the inside of the station, as if something awaits on the other side. And elsewhere, there is light. And a voice now? Not yet. Patience. But look at her. She's so fragile. She's weak. Ah, but in weakness, perfected there is strength. In fragility, there is yet hope. And that's where we're going to start. Jexa, I need a faith plus focus roll from you.
Cool. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and surge.
Your faith's on the way up, right?
My faith?
Mm-hmm.
My faith is high. My focus is low. I have a 6 faith.
Nice, good.
But my focus is 3. I am going to bump that 9 to a 16. And I'm going to use a weird point.
Why do you think you need a weird
Use them
point?
while you got them.
I'm going to keep that one. Because that's a 16. So, yeah, I'm not even going to roll the other die. Sweet success with a crit.
Okay. All right.
Great.
So Jexa, as you help Ercole get the straps around his shoulders, Al kind of gets the back of the machine. Everything kind of goes wibbly wobbly, and suddenly you're looking. It's weird. You're looking out. You can't figure out what the reference point is. You seem to be maybe 3 or 4 feet off the ground. Just to your right, there's a strange silky curtain that only extends about 6 inches past your field of vision. There's a buzzing noise, a mechanical buzzing noise, and the sounds, the wet sounds of flesh being struck. And as you kind of look, you can see there are 2 figures tied to a chair, tied to chairs, and there is someone standing in front of one of them, just with wet back smacks, knocking the head to the left, to the right. My lord, as everything something kind of flows over your vision and everything kind of gets a little dark. I think he fell unconscious again, and you hear a voice as if right next to you. Oh, they don't breed the Hawkwoods like they used to. Wake Samuel up and start again. And you see something cover your field of vision, and you realize it's a cloth wiping away blood. And the head sort of turns to look at his shoulder. Oh, hello, Jexa. So nice of you to join us. That's when you snap back to your body.
I snap back to my body screaming.
Ercole lets out a grunt as the straps don't. You haven't finished securing the straps, and he grabs you by the shoulder. Jexa,
yes.
Focus. This is where you are. You are not where you were.
Okay.
Be here.
Okay. Yeah, here. Okay, yeah. But here is in the middle of a space station surrounded by an eye staring at me. So, like, is here really that great?
What did you see?
What time? Now or out there?
Stay focused. Now, what
Now.
did you see?
I saw 2 people tied to a chair. They were being hit, struck. One of them was Samuel Hawkwood. I didn't see who the other one was, but I was in a room. There was mechanical buzz, and then I was like on the shoulder of somebody who turned and looked at me and talked to me. And there was a curtain.
So Ercole kind of stares at you. What else? And you got a critical success.
I do.
You remember 2 other things from the vision.
Okay.
One, the curtain was definitely hair, kind of pulled, like falling forward over someone's face.
Okay.
So that's when the head turned to look at you. You get the distinct impression that your field of vision was coming from like their collarbone.
Okay.
The other thing is, you've been in this room before. It's changed. It was dark. The last time you were here, you're pretty sure, well, the visual cues aren't what gives it off. It's the sound. It's the way everything echoes and is resonant. You're pretty sure the last time you were here, you heard a bunch of animal sounds, and Lee or Calypso would not let you see what was going on. The room has the same tang in the air, the same obscene resonance where every little whisper sound is carried right to where this person is.
Okay. I was on their collarbone, and the curtain was their hair, and the person is in Count Orleton's private party room.
Ericole kind of looks over his shoulder, straining to see Val. We need to talk with Gemma.
Okay.
Captain, what's the plan? It seems as if they know we are here. I'm pretty sure where we need to go with this. And he reaches back and pats the big metal thing. It's not the same place where Jexa just saw.
No, that needs to go down to the engine.
How hard is this machine to set up, Jexa? Like, is it ready to just wire in and go?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
Because for all of me staring at it, it hasn't told me anything new.
Okay.
There doesn't seem to be any, like, access panels or control ports or even plugs where you would plug it in. About all that it has, as we said, is there's that core through the center. It's shaped like a U.
Mm-hmm.
And according to what Jexa learned from studying it, it looks as if it just overlays that weird spot where the activation print was.
Well, we can't leave Samuel here because when this thing goes off, it's going to blow up.
Right.
So we need to get him before we activate it.
There was somebody else, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm nervous that if Samuel is here, the other person is Alexa.
Probably.
Because Virgil is here.
Yeah, Ericole has turned on his squawker so that Gemma can hear all of this.
I'm not sure how I feel taking this device into the middle of a potential firefight.
So do we split up?
Calypso, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are I would prefer that we stick together and maybe figure out how to get Samuel. I'm just worried about how long we have until that thing goes off and us out of here.
Right.
My concern with sticking together and just all of us going to get Samuel and probably Alexa, is Ericole and I can't really do a whole lot while holding this thing.
Well,
And if the device is destroyed, then we can't do what we're supposed to do. So I don't know if we want to stash it somewhere or if somebody needs to stay behind with it and everybody else goes and gets Samuel. But I don't think we can take this thing into a fight.
What?
I think, yeah, letting somebody set it up. I guess maybe leaving 2 people with the device, then we get Samuel, then reconvene with the device.
What if we take the device, someone stays with it, and once we have Samuel, we all head back for the ship with the device ready to go?
I'm not entirely clear. How does this thing detonate? How long do we have until it booms?
We don't know. But I'm going to say pretty quick after we put it on.
Okay.
It's immediate.
It's immediate?
It's a dead man's switch.
It's a
Somebody
dead
has to
man's-
be there to throw the switch, and it goes off. Somebody has to activate it.
Calypso's just going to be visibly distraught as she stares at Jexa like,
Oh, wow.
Jam, how heavy is the device? Like, I know it's air and Val. Is it something?
Well, it's air and Val because it was going to be the easiest way to maneuver. Ercole can carry it by himself. It will just be much slower. If it's one person carrying it, it's not even just a matter of weight. It's a matter of awkwardness, if that makes sense.
Okay.
It's like trying to carry like a 30-foot ladder on your back. You may be strong enough to do it, but you're not going to be graceful while doing it.
Okay.
When you say that, Ercole's like, if you can clear a path, I may be able to get it down there.
I'll come with you and help, in case we run into trouble.
Well, if we're all sticking together, then we all go and get it set at least.
I'm nervous. I mean, okay, I'm afraid. But I don't think we're going to be able to get far in the station without either being attacked or being taken to this room that I saw. I don't know if all of us sticking together is actually a possibility.
I agree. I think Ercole and I should take the device. Somebody tell me how to get there. We'll set it up. The rest of you go get Samuel and Alexa.
Or I could go with Ercole.
No.
Show him how to get it set up.
There's no setup. It's just you put it there. There's no reason for you to go,
Sure.
Alexa.
You don't know where to go, though.
Somebody tell me.
It's gonna have to be one of us goes with you. It can't just be you and Ercole. It's not a straightforward map to get there. You will meet resistance. It's gonna have to be more than you and Ercole.
Maybe it should be you and me then, and we send Ercole with the other half, since he's another heavy hitter, if they run into trouble.
I don't fight. You do. You should be going into the fight.
I don't think that's what I'm meant to do here.
I'm happy to go with Jexa. Calypso, you're okay with that.
wait, you and Jexa go with the Doomsday device?
I am just offering. We know where to go. We helped set this off the first time. We know the intricacies of the space.
Okay,
At this
but
point, the comms start squawking. And Gemma, from your vantage point, you can see a bright cutter torch start at the top, far end of the umbilical, and start to slowly move down the door as if they're cutting through the airlock towards you. Jexa, I know you're there, and I know you can hear me. There's no need for this to get too much bloodier. I have your boy. He is pure of heart. Do you know how rare that is in the galaxy? To find someone that innocent among the nobility? Oh, it almost makes everything we had planned for him. I would do it for free. We also have that little Borker Alexa, poor little lost sheep. She thought she was reaching out to the Inquisition. I'll make it easy for you. You and Calypso, you come here. You know where it is. Everyone else stays on the ship. You bring the two of you and whatever that thing is that you're carrying. You know the one. And I let them go. They're all mostly still in one piece. I'm sad to say they are running out of the time of the wholeness of their flesh, if you know what I
Fine.
mean.
No interference for us to come and join you. And you let them go.
Of course. I am, after all, a noble, and the nobility must keep its word to worthless peasants.
Fine.
Do any of us recognize this voice?
Oh.
You all
It's
recognize this voice.
It's the Inquisitor.
It's not. Oh, it's not Orliton?
I didn't think so.
Wrong bad guy.
Nope, it is Orliton.
Oh, it is Orliton.
Ha!
Okay.
I thought that
Look
was
at
his
that.
slimy voice. I thought that was the correct slimy voice.
All right.
One last party, Jexa. You are, after all, shielded from the last one.
Yes. Okay. Fine.
And I promise none of your victims will impede you in any way in coming into my presence. We are so looking forward to seeing you face to face with our own eyes again.
So I'm gonna try to ignore him. Is there any way that I can give you the information? Like, do you have something I can download? Do you have a device?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure I have it.
So I will put in
tablet.
the ship's schematics with a map and potential route to the place into Val's device.
Smart pad. Let's just call it a smart pad.
Smart pad. It's not a think machine.
No, it's a smartphone, but bigger.
Okay.
Great.
then-
We'll just wait on the ship then.
Gee. What?
Are you going with them or are you coming with us?
I don't know.
The order was for you and Calypso and the rest of us to stay.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It smells like a big trap.
Yes.
It is. It's definitely a trap.
It's a trap!
Jan, while this conversation is happening, if I pull out the wire blade that I have and punch it through right where that arc flame is coming, would that halt the arc blade the arc for just a second? Because in theory, it would just be punching straight through into whatever the arc welder they're using.
Only if it was within the range of the blade, and most cutting torches are designed to cut through holes, so they give you several feet of, I like the thought. You can give it a shot, but
What would it
They
be?
might be too far back.
Doesn't hurt to try.
they might be too far back.
Is that strength or dexterity?
I'll do strength plus melee.
Oh, you're good at that.
7 is 15. 15.
Woot!
Excellent. So you punch the wire blade through kind of where you think the like kind of above the torch blade, the arc of the flame, and it definitely it doesn't sputter, but you can see it definitely pulls back a bit. Kind of moves up and moves out. And as you kind of look beyond the molten edges on either side, you can see, well, you see 3 members of the Milan Station maintenance crew. You saw them when you were there last time. They look bad. All of the veins, and like they're ashen skinned. You can see large ulcerations on their skin, like they were exposed to a vacuum. They should not be moving around through the scent of scorched steel. You pick up kind of a very sort of fetid smell, as if something is slowly rotting on the other side.
Gemma will look at Jexa and say, if you want me to go with you, I will go with you.
I do.
Okay.
I will make sure that Val gets there safely. On my own life.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
Go with the pancreator. We'll give you 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okie dokie. I definitely hesitate before heading out. But being in between the 2 moms is
Team up.
Team Mom! This is definitely helpful. Val?
Yeah.
I would say don't be stupid, but
Hey, that's kind of my whole thing.
stupidity, yeah.
It's worked out so far.
Check a grenade if you have to. Then I'll go.
Wait as long as you can. Preferably till, we're not in the ballroom anymore.
Yeah. I'll
Radio if you
theoretically we'll wait until you let us know you're clear.
If you have no way to do so, send 2 squawk clearings, 3 more, and then 2 again if you're able. That'll be our sign to hit the button. He turns to Val. I assume there's a button.
I guess.
Always a button.
There's always a big red button that you're never supposed to push, and somehow I always do.
All right. So do you guys, the 3 of you, head to the front of the door?
Yes.
All right.
I will usher Calypso and Jexa behind me, just in case they start shooting when they open the door.
The doors open up, and you can see there are a half dozen of this maintenance crew. You can see that they have set up in the hallway they've set up in the hallway a black light laser with hooked up to the power with one of these husks sitting behind it. But they all seem to have stepped back, and through the flickering lights of the damaged power station at Milan, the hallway, kind of one hallway clearly flickers.
So which of you guys are gonna lead us? Lead us down.
They all kind of look at each other. You can see like flesh jowls hanging kind of real loose. Several of them are missing teeth. And one of them starts shuffling off.
Okay. Guess we follow.
You are led through the corridors, through the docking ring. Hey Val, just so it's set, I want you to give me a dexterity plus shoot roll, and when I come back to you, we'll touch on that.
Okay.
Led through the corridors and halls of Milan Station. Sometimes you have to duck under beams that have fallen from the ceiling or step around sparking panels. You can see all of the leaves, Calypso, of the Prophet's Heart, that very rare plant that was being grown on Milan Station that is the source of extremely potent elixirs that your first time here, you and Alestra tried to steal. It ended up just murdering a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Classic Oh Boii.
Yeah. Good times.
That did happen.
And you pass the lift where Gemma, you first were riding down to go to the shrine of the Silent Woman when Jexa got on board and ended up rescuing this young woman from the hands of Orlaton's men, and going down to meet Alexa and starting on this whole journey. And then you hit the hall of all of Orlaton's like forebearers, that one with the all the little alcoves with the 3D holograms of all of the heads of Orlaton.
How's
and
the
you can
red?
hear that buzzing noise.
I was gonna say, how's the red velvet carpet looking?
It's crushed.
Uh-huh.
It's crushed. There's also stains on it now.
Uh-huh.
Much like last time, you should probably not use a black light in this hall.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Yeah.
gross.
Yeah, that was
And
gross.
and the Hux kind of puts its hand on the reader pad, and it bow, and it reaches into its work belt and pulls out another hand and slaps it against the reader, and it comes to life. Val, what did you get?
I succeeded with a 3.
Without knowing what this roll is, but knowing that it's for shooting stuff, how much would you like to spend?
All 12.
Well, I do like
He said-
shooting things.
Really? Val likes shooting things?
Yeah, I'll spend 12. I have 12 total banked. I'll just spend it because I really like shooting things and I shoot good.
I mean, I really can't argue with Val's love of shooting. And all right, Val, Ercole silently counting out the heartbeats. Guns ready. Lucia comes up for more supplies. Is it going down? Where are they?
Calypso and Jexa and Gemma are going to go distract creepy Count Orlaton, and
That Borker is back?
yeah, he
How many
just won't
times do we
stay
have to
dead.
kill him?
He just won't stay dead. And Ercole and I are prepping the device.
She kind of looks down the shadowy umbilicus. Smells like they tried to burn through.
They did.
There are several of them waiting for us, lady. We are prepared to. And he's got the thing strapped to his back and his sword in one hand, kind of trying to find his balance. Definitely not as graceful as he normally is. Hold on. I'll be right back. She's in her full, like, space suit. Val, I will do what I can to stop them. But if need be, and he pulls out a smaller blade, almost shaped like a tato, I will cut this free and you will have to drag it. But I will purchase your path.
Get back to the ship if you can.
Of course.
If we get separated, straight back here.
If we get separated and I have the device, I need to be the one to go down there.
I know.
Lucia comes back with a long bag and unzips it, lays down on the floor of the deck, kicks out the bipod stand on a sniper rifle, rolls her neck. All right, you go running, and I've got your backs.
Nice.
Thanks.
You're spending 12.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hope I'm not shooting my friends.
All right.
Be one way to go.
You go running down the hallway. It's a 4-meter sprint. Air coal behind you. Every so often you can hear the clang as the device hits the side of this umbilicus. But you get there first. You can see that there are the 5 husks. One of them is lighting up a torch that a cutting torch is designed to punch through the hull of a ship. 3 of them are unarmed, and the 5th one is starting to turn the black light laser on you.
One super quick thing. Right
Sure.
before I went running down, I have like a little recording thing. I'm going to pass that off to Lucia. It has recordings on it, which may become relevant at a later date.
What you mean in like 4 hours?
You better come back, Val.
Yeah, you can give that back to me when I come back. If not, you can laugh at how much of an idiot I am, and then I run.
All right, who are you shooting when you get in there, Val?
Said there are 5 of them, and one's right in front of the door.
No, so there's the one off to the right when you come into the main area that has the cutting torch and is priming it. There are the other 3 who all have like pry bars, crowbars, jagged pieces of metal. And then there's the one who's got the black light laser pointed right at you.
I'm gonna shoot for the one with the laser first.
And you spent 12?
Yeah.
All right. His resistance is 2.
Oh, well, overkill. That's fine.
But even with what he has in his purse isn't enough. So, how much damage does your weapon do, Val?
It does a base. Let's see, which one am I using? I'm using my Martech Gold, so it does a base of 5.
All right. You burn a hole through the creature's shoulder. Who do you want to go next, Lucia or Aircole or the husks?
Let's go Lucia next.
All right. Well, I pre-rolled for her. She has favorable actions here, and she got double 12s. So there is a crack of a actual hard caliber weapon, and the head of the one with the cutting torch just erupts, and the torch hits the ground and starts cutting through the floor. She's going to give the next shot to Aircole,
Good, smart.
who goes racing up and beheads the one with the laser. 2 of them come for him, and 1 of them comes for you.
Okay.
One of them hits you, and 1 of them hits Aircole. So how much would you like to increase your body resistance? What is your current body resistance, and do you want to spend anything to increase it?
My current is 3. I will surge to get some VP back. Math is happening. I'll increase it. I'll spend 7 to increase to 10.
All right. 10 is you do not get hit, and Ericol, you can see they swing the crowbar, and it definitely sinks into the flesh of his shoulder, and he makes no sound whatsoever. Like he just sort of like looks at it and readies his blade. The husks have gone. They would normally. I know Occam's razor, but tis what it is. The husks will pick themselves to go again. Unless, Val, do you have sharpshooter?
I do, and I'm gonna spend the VP to get initiative edge.
All right, go for it.
And then, hang on, I get 2, I have the second rank of that, so I get 2 of the benefits. So I will choose to ignore 2 ranks of their body resistance if I hit. Well, that's a 20.
All right,
It's literally
roll again.
the only way that I fail at shooting is if I roll a 20.
And you're using a laser weapon, correct?
I'm using my Martech Gold, so I believe that's a laser weapon.
Yep. What'd you get on your second roll?
7.
Okay, so it's just a misfire. It is not a.
Okay.
It does not overheat.
Okay.
Who would you like to go next?
Let's do Ercol next.
All right. Ercol will cut down one of the guy who has his shoulder, who hit him with the crowbar, and he will select Lucia. Well, Lucia is the last one to go. Oh, the husks have to go, and Lucia will take out the last. So there's only one husk left.
Okay.
But you hear over the squawkers, "Oh, good. I was afraid they wouldn't get a workout today." You can hear the sound of boots coming down the main hall. A lot of them.
Okay, I'm spending the
hold on.
VP for edge if I can.
Okay. Yeah. The last husk is going to take a shot at you
Okay.
and miss.
Great.
And Jexa, Calypso, and Gemma, you hear, "I was afraid they weren't going to get any exercise today," as the doors open up. The wet smacking noise sort of stops, and the last one kind of echoes in the room. And you can see there's only one light in this massive, if you remember the massive ballroom, where the last time you were here, a rather disturbing party was going on.
Mm-hmm.
You can
I
hear the sounds.
instinctually go to put my hand over Jackson's eyes just to make sure there's no latex
You can hear
suits.
the buzzing noise kind of drones off, and at the far end, on the raised dais where Orlatan's bulk was contained on the grab chair right before Calypso, and either the bravest or dumbest thing she's done in this campaign, got close enough to Orlatan to kiss him and blow psychedelic drugs directly into his face. There sits a man on a very strange chair. He's sort of sitting, but also kind of being able to lean forward. And you can see hair, like greasy black hair kind of hanging down. And there is a very thin, pale, almost elfin, graced person standing behind them with what looks to be some sort of gun with a tube running out of it into the side of their neck. And you can see that as they pull the gun away from the man's back, they wipe it with a bloody rag. And you can see that this figure has feathers and eyes tattooed like over his chest and down his back. And Jexa, you can see right where the eye would have been. The Inquisitor, or I should say the Inquisitor, turns, knuckles red and covered in blood. Samuel is kind of sitting off to the side. Alexa is, they're both strapped with their wrists bound and their hands open on the edge of the chair. Oh, you were right. He was definitely worth taking. And the head kind of lifts up. Welcome back, ladies. Do you like what you've done with this place?
Is it so much that we did it, or that you did it?
Was I the one who pressed the button?
Well, yes.
I mean, you're not wrong.
As he stands, he kind of rolls his neck, and it really seems as if the feathers are rippling on his chest and arms.
I mean, your ancestor was the one who set it up, and then your hand was the one to release the lock. We just happened to make sure that happened.
So you would blame the gun
No,
for the person it killed, and not the hand that wielded it. Interesting. I like it.
no, just,
See?
Technicalities.
Oh, here's the thing. Technicalities are the providence of the dark. You are well on your way, Jexa.
So, we're here. You're going to let Samuel and Alexa go because, you are noble and therefore you need to keep your word.
Yes. I will definitely let them go.
Let them go free and living?
Oh, I didn't say that. I said let them go. I also said come alone. I'm not saying that I don't like to see Gemma here. But you know how it is. The door behind you slams shut with a clang.
Mm-hmm.
The husk is getting back and arm is just snapped off. I take it she's here looking at Gemma. Some sort of insurance policy?
Orliton, you should know by now that wherever Jexa goes, I go. And wherever Calypso goes, I go.
That is an interesting thing about you. Is it not? A saint following in the path of the possessed? I'm sure somewhere in the abyss there are many of us who are laughing. But I have what I want. I have you, Jexa, you, Calypso Mars. You would not believe the deals that have been made thanks to you. Ancient enmities from before this star was even formed have been put aside to bring about the dying of the light. We are here to witness this. But I did say I would let your friends go. Inquisitor? The Inquisitor holds up his hand, touches a little light spot, and the floor beneath both of them opens up.
Can
No.
I try and grab Samuel?
You want to grab Samuel. Give me a dex plus... Give me a dex plus
Weird point.
fight roll.
Dex plus fight.
Definitely use a weird point.
So that's 14, and I got 15 I gotta dump into it, so that's at a 19.
It's at 29, but yes.
Well, I can't go higher than 19, I don't think.
Right.
And I will use a weird point. So much glitter. I succeed with a 12.
Okay.
You succeed with a 12.
Yes.
So this would be a severe task, Gemma. So 10 is what you would need to spend, and every 3 above that increases an additional degree of success. Like, you will grab him at 10.
How far apart are they?
They are sitting about 2 meters apart.
Okay. I will spend. It's 27 minus 15, 12. I will spend 12 to grab him and then throw him behind me.
All right.
And I will, as I do so, like, I will use the other hand to stabilize myself, but also reach towards Alexa and just say, I'm sorry. May Beatrice light your path.
She hits the water beneath, and both doors close over and go from opaque to transparent. And you can see her kind of slowly sinking down, looking at you.
No.
Oh, wonderful. I did not expect you to save the boy. He kind of rolls his neck and cracks, and you can see that there seems to be a lot of things going on behind him, things kind of hitting.
Can
the ground.
I shoot the Inquisitor?
Oh, you definitely can shoot the Inquisitor.
Okay, I shoot the Inquisitor, because I need that hand, because I need these doors to open up now.
All right. So go ahead and give me the.
All right, I was successful.
All right. So you can see that this guy's definitely wearing kind of like synth silk robes.
Uh-huh.
What would you like to? How much would you like to spend?
I'll spend 16.
Why not?
You hit. How much? What's the base damage on your weapon?
6.
You upping it?
Yeah, I am. I'm gonna up it to 11.
All right. You hit the Inquisitor, who's pretty far away from you. Bring up your rifle or your pistol.
Yeah.
And shooting, and you can you hit. First of all, the shield flares, but with as high as damage as you did, you see it go through, and it scores the right side of his face, burning off the top part of his ear for 2 points of damage. And he brings his and now we're gonna go over to we'll cut away in the middle of profanity to so Val, this is now a chase to get away. So what I need from you is this will be a dexterity plus vigor.
Okay.
You can hear the crack of Lucia's rifle going as people go running past. As the husks behind you, you know she's back there picking them off as they move in front of the airlock. But eventually that falls silent. What did you get?
Success with a 4.
Okay. So at this point, you have the lead.
Okay.
Okay. You have, as I said, you have the lead, and you are going to be able to maintain that as long as you continue to roll well, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The husks are following behind you, and they also are going to be making rolls in an attempt to catch you, essentially. If that,
Yeah,
I-
that makes sense.
So you succeeded with a 4. How much do you want to spend on this roll? You guys are both near, which means it's extreme range for your weapons, but they can still see you and follow as you're doing this.
I'll spend 8.
Every 2 you spend increases the distance, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So by succeeding, you've moved from near to far, and if you spend 4, that would get you to escape, but then they get to roll against you and try and close the gap. Does that make sense?
Okay, I'll spend 6. So it's a little
Okay.
harder for them.
All right.
But I don't blow all my VP.
All right. Well, they succeeded, so that moves them up, and they're going to spend. So even with their roll, you have moved from near to far. Every so often, you can hear the sounds. Their boots smacking against the ground. The dull cries of throats that have been vacuum frozen. Vocal cords that have just been fried from the exposure to vacuum. And you can actually see as you're running where they have actually done repairs just to make sure that, like, you're guessing Orlaton can get around. There are places where bulkheads are sealed, and when you try and open them, you definitely get a warning, vacuum on the other side, pressure 0, and you just keep moving and going. And eventually you get to the lift that she described. I'm going to need one more roll to see if you can escape.
Dexterity plus vigor again?
Dexterity plus vigor again.
I do got this. Yes, I got this. I succeeded with an 8.
Okay. How many are you spending?
Let's spend 8. I don't want to deal with these guys.
All right. You managed to outpace the husks, who rolled a 17 on their roll, and you make it into the elevator. And by the time you see the doors closing is when you see the first husk round the corner. So you have time. Ercol takes a moment to set the thing down, his blade covered in the gore. You see he kind of brings out a... So you are not planning on coming back, are you?
I don't see how it's going to work out that way. Somebody's got to throw it, so might as well be me.
One should never discuss martyrdom with a member of the church if they're not ready for a discussion.
Well, we've got about 15 decks, so what have you got?
I lived for 3 months on a symbiote-infested planet, praying for a death that was my own, not a death where my life was taken from me. And like the Emperor's angels, that one's for you, Phantom, descending from the sky, Gemma, Philosophia, and the rest of that squad rescued me. And every day since then has been a gift from the Pancreator. Far be it from me to force anyone to step off the path. that they see laid out for them.
Something to be said
You-
for going out on your own terms, is what I hear you saying.
There's also something to be said for recognizing a gift, the gift that is life. You definitely hear something hit with a crunch and a splat. Also, I'm saying that we have traveled too far for a husk to survive the fall.
Yeah, I'm getting that.
I'm willing to stand in your place if it comes down to that, Val. You have people who are waiting for you. Friends, family.
I
They
have
would
that
be sad
either
to
way.
see you go. It is true. Well, perhaps neither of us will get a choice as the splat noises start to get more frequent.
Yeah, if they break this elevator, then I don't think either of us are getting back out.
Well, no, if it comes to that, the door will be held. They will not get in there. The doors open up. Lights flicker. The hallway is just completely thrashed. You start to pick your way over. Sometimes Ercole pushing the device at you, sometimes you pulling it over till it hits with a clang. Jixa says it was resilient. So did your parents' memories. I'm certain that
I'm
it's
sure it's fine.
sure it's fine.
It's fine.
So I hear we's in combat up above.
Sure.
I mean,
Jixa, who's the second person? You took the first shot.
I did take the first
That's
shot.
a shot first.
Jexa, shot first.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Right? Do you know what you're gonna do?
I think so.
No, you don't get to choose when you go, or you do.
I get to interrupt, correct, JM? That's the.
She can interrupt.
So, if we have the Inquisitor go, you can interrupt to go before Orlaton.
In theory, yes.
That's the theory. We're gonna try this theory. See if we die. I'm actually gonna have the Inquisitor go next.
Are you remembering your afraidness? By the way.
Yeah, I'm spending more VP.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yep, I'm spending more VP to go for the 2 more VP than the number that I'm saying.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
It definitely does. All right. The Inquisitor comes running at you, and you can see that he pulls a weapon out that seems kind of similar to the handle that Gemma is using on her wire blade.
Mm-hmm.
But when he flicks it on, you can see a force field come into existence, and then plasma sort of fill the inside of the blade and start like rupturing out from either side of the shape.
Okay.
And he goes running past you, attacks Gemma.
I do have a giant target painted on me.
He hits Gemma. Gemma, what is your body resistance?
8.
All right. With an 8, he is going to, from the pool, spend 8 to get to 16.
Do I recognize this weapon?
You are trained in all military weapons. Yes, this is what is known as a flux sword. It is essentially a plasma blade.
Okay. Because he gets to raise after I do, right?
He does get to raise after you do.
But it's probably worth bleeding them dry. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I will spend the 8 to match.
8 to match.
You gotta go higher if you don't want him to hit.
Oh, do I have to go higher to not hit?
You have to go 1 higher, yes.
Okay.
So you'll spend 9.
Yes.
All right. He will spend 2 more to get to hit you, and then he will spend 4 to up the damage from 7 to 9.
Okay.
And he will choose Orlaton.
I would like to interrupt.
I figured you might.
Okay. So we can now see where Alexa is, correct?
You can see where Alexa is. She is under the floor through this transparent steel. Maybe it could be transparent
Aluminum.
aluminium. Yes. But she is sunk about 3 feet down, and you can just see bubbles rising at this point.
Okay.
You also, Gemma, you notice one. I'll go.
I noticed what?
You're not focused on Orlaton, so I'm going to ignore that for now. Please continue what you were going to say.
Okay. I will run over to that panel in the floor,
Okay.
spin the wire blade, and I'm going to attempt to cut a hole into the floor.
Okay.
And if I'm successful, I will then use my perk of Invigorate and yell at Alexa, and she will get a recovery automatically for free, and it doesn't burn one of her recoveries.
Does she have to be able to hear you?
Let me look up the things.
Okay. Here, I'll look that up while you make your roll.
What am I rolling?
Dex plus melee.
6, 7 is 15.
They actually have to be able to hear your words of encouragement, because it specifically says you can voice supportive or commanding words to a wounded ally, and she is 3 feet underwater.
Okay. I succeed with an 11.
It is a hard task, which is only 4 to kind of get through it. The glass immediately sinks into the water and starts floating down.
So you said 4?
Yes.
Okay.
Who do you want to go next?
Well, didn't she interrupt, so Orlaton goes next?
Oh, that is true.
Jam, on a brief glance, is this a part of the ship that we recognize that she's in, or a station that we recognize she's in, or is this just some new something?
You've never actually, you don't recognize where she's at, but Jexa, if you remember, when you were
It's
first
the
brought into
maze.
Orlaton's presence, yeah,
Mhm.
it's he would routinely have a maze set and transparent steel over it, so that literally they would be walking on top of everything that was going out, able to look at all of the gruesome displays beneath them.
Right, and at the time, I had gotten my think machine to memorize the maze. aware that there was a good possibility it would change.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. Just wondering.
All right. Orlison turns to the oar standing next to him. You know what to do. And he takes a leap, and he actually leaps across the room, landing right in front of Jexa. And he reaches out to touch your forehead, Jexa.
I duck.
All right. Well, what is your body resistance?
4.
Cool.
Is it?
Do you want to increase it at all? Because he's going to spend 6 to reach out and touch you.
Yeah. I'll bump that up to 7.
All right. He will bump it up as well.
Ah. Okay.
So, Jam, I have another perk called Inspiring, or I can also yell at someone and give them VP from my bank.
Okay.
So, can I yell out to Jexa, oh shoot, what would I yell out? She would yell out, remember the candle? And, how many am I gonna give you? I will give her 6 more.
That just goes into my bank though, right? Or do I use it?
Right. Are you spending that as part of your initial up? Or are you saving it?
Well, if I've got it, I would have spent it. Okay. If she gave me 6,
Mm-hmm.
4. He's reaching out to touch me. He wants to touch me with 6. I would have bumped my defense, my body, up to 10. Does he still spend the 10?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
He will spend that. All right, Jexa, as soon as his finger touches you, you can feel something warm and sticky get smeared across your head,
Okay.
your forehead.
Okay.
I need a faith plus focus roll.
Okay. Excuse me.
So we're blind.
Yes, I am using a weird point.
Yeah, please.
Using the last of my VP.
You got this.
Oh, nope.
You got this.
3! Yes. I am going to spend a total of 6
Okay.
on whatever this is.
So you're spending a total of 6 on whatever this is.
Yes.
Now, the voice asks again, wait, it is almost time. Jexa, when you get hit with the 6, you immediately get pulled into that room in your mind that where you normally talk with your think machine.
Uh-huh.
There's you, there's your think machine, and there's a third presence. And this third presence looks like a what would happen if you and Orlaton were sort of fused into one sort of
Oh.
like a rebus, if you will.
Uh-huh.
It's disgusting.
Uh-huh.
And immediately this other version of you pulls out your gun and blows a hole through the head of your think machine.
Ah!
Now we can talk alone.
Oh, goody. I don't want to. I would actually prefer if you left.
Gemma, you see Orlaton's just standing in front of Jexa, kind of cupping the left hand of half of her face with his finger pressed to her forehead, as the oar, and it's dark enough with the robes you can't tell which species of oar it is, but the oar with a tattoo gun that is connected to its jugular comes running out and stabs the tattoo gun right at Calypso. And crits on his stab Calypso with a tattoo gun, and the buzzing starts again, and Calypso just kind of freezes, back arched, head focused at the end of this thing as it just kind of starts stabbing out a pattern on her head. Val.
Oh, hi.
You and Eric finally get past. There are a ton of bodies here. It looks as if there was a massive fight. There is, looks like guards, noble guards, having been overrun. You can see where several large panels have been welded over a door. And Eric goes, "Please do not tell me that what we seek lies on the other side of that."
That's where my map is pointing, isn't it?
It is. Do you have a way past that?
So the metal is welded across the door. It's not like a door with a broken panel. It's like blocked.
Yeah, it looks like they have bolted on other panel pieces to kind of prevent easy access from this.
Okay. Can I pull up the station schematics that Jexa gave me and see if there is a ventilation shaft or an access panel, another way of getting through, for maintenance?
I was actually going to say, I feel like the first time Jexa got into that room I snuck in via one of those.
Nope.
So yes, that is in my schematics.
That's in my notes. Why don't you give me a wits plus? Let me have a wits plus. Let's do it wits plus intrusion.
Oh, that's good.
I'm going to make this favorable for you because you have Jexa's notes.
Yeah, I'm an intruder, so it's already favorable, but I'll take it.
So yeah, that's how I did it the first time. That's obviously the only way to get into this room.
there's always got to be a different way in. I succeed with a 4.
Okay, you make your way in for 2.
Okay.
Now the thing is, as you're on the other side of the door, you can see the large power conduit that just runs through the center of this room. The machinery, you actually can clearly see how to bolt this thing on, to kind of lift it up, put it in. It looks like you would have to, just from the shape of the pipes and the shape of the device, the conduits and the shape of the device, you have to basically put it in place, rotate it counterclockwise, and that center rim will line up with this control panel. You also see a very dead body that has been sort of vacuum sealed of a very morbidly obese person who is strapped to a grav chair.
Oh, the original.
Mm-hmm.
The original. You can also see someone has been back through here because there are large, crescent-shaped cuts out of the flesh, for the taking of DNA. You can also see a port on the back of his head that definitely has something that would fit in the center of it that is gone. The body's kind of leaned forward like that. Do you see another way in? I do not believe that the device will fit through that.
Can I look for another way in? Any other door that maybe he could circle around and go to?
Give me a perception plus observation.
Okay. Perception plus observe. I believe this is also favorable. because of my things.
Yay, things.
Where is my thing? Yes, it is favorable. Because I have keen awareness.
Okay.
Thank God that was favorable. I succeed with a 12. So that's 90. Yeah, I succeed.
How much do you want to spend on this?
So 2 is like easy, 4 is hard, 10's ridiculous. Right? Okay.
Not exactly the terminology, but yes. They go up by 2. 14 being miraculous.
I'll spend 8. That seems reasonable.
All right. So as you look around, you can see 2 things that would be of use. There are several pry bars in here, which were there. I mean, they're covered in dust, so they've been here a while. And there are panels inside or on the grab unit. And as you kind of, touch a couple of them, you can see that there is another just a handle of a bladed weapon.
Okay.
Which you
does
recognize.
It look like Gemma's wire blade?
It looks a little. I mean, it's a different style, but again, most hiltless weapons have some sort of. They're either flux swords, mist swords, or wire blades.
Okay. I'll try the blade first and see if I can activate it and cut through the metal blocking the door.
It is another one of those flux blades, and a plasma crescent ignites, and you start cutting through the door, and you hear, there are things out here. I can hear them moving about. We should
Working on it.
hurry. Back in Orlaton's, nope, can't say that.
Funhouse.
Can't say that. We'll use Funhouse. I like
Lair?
that. Orlaton's former Garden of Delights. Gemma, are you going first, or are you allowing the Inquisitor to come at you again?
So the Inquisitor is currently tattooing Calypso's face, and Orla.
No. The Inquisitor is hacking at you with a flux blade. Orlaton is touching Jex's forehead. The Ur, who is tattooing Orlaton, is now tattooing Calypso.
Okay. Okay. First, she will yell at Samuel Hawkwood, who can definitely hear because he's definitely still in this room.
He is definitely still in this room.
Still in the room.
This would be a good time to prove what use House Hawkwood can be. And then she is going to spin out from around the Inquisitor and just dead bum rush Orlaton.
Okay.
And use Montauk and spend a VP to up her skill action and a VP to ignore any energy shield he might have.
Okay. Go ahead and give me the fight roll.
So it would be strength plus fight.
Mm-hmm.
16.
So does Samuel wake up because you yelled at him?
He gets a free revival.
He gets a free recovery. Yeah.
Get up, kid.
That's cocked. Succeed with a 16.
All right. He is currently not physically there, or not mentally there. He's only physically there, so his body resistance is only a 2.
Oh, I didn't need to spend. Okay. Body resistance is a 2. And what would my damage be?
Base damage is 2.
Base damage is 2.
20. Or no, you spent 2.
18.
Mhm.
Because I didn't need to spend 2 of the ones that I did, so I have 18. Let's go for broke. I realize that he is not mentally there, but I suspect his mental capabilities can only last as long as his physical form can.
So good.
So I'm gonna dump 16 into that.
So that would bring the damage to a total of 10.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. You knock him several feet back. You can see the bloody foot thumbprint is now smeared across Gemma's face and really kind of looks like a feather. He kind of lands, rolls up. It's like, well, I was really hoping you'd do that, and kind of cracks his jaw. Who would you like to go next? Calypso, Jexa, the Inquisitor, the or Orleton?
I'll go Inquisitor.
Okay. Inquisitor takes a swipe at you.
Choice.
And he is upping. He's going to up his damage by 1. So he connects, and he's going to spend to get to a total of 10 to start.
Fine.
Are you taking it?
Yeah.
All right. So that will be 8 points of damage from the blade, and you just the plasma blade cuts across, cuts right through some of the shoulder plating, and you can feel the skin char underneath. The Or takes a step back, takes the bloody rag, wipes it across Calypso's face. Perfect. And you hear the sound of bone snapping as Calypso just kind of reaches out and twists the Ur's head completely the other direction, and it drops to the ground. And as the tattoo gun goes skidding across, you can see Gemma as you kind of like reel back, armor plating still hot. The tattoo gun you recognize, or at least pieces of it. It's really the fact that the button is in the shape of the face of Virgil that you see where they got that. Orleton kind of cracks his neck, rolls his shoulders, and you hear something wet and tearing from behind him, and it looks like a cloak drops down behind him,
Okay.
rippling free from his back, and you can see it is a cloak of feathers. If we're going to do this, and you can see his fingers start to blacken, let's do this right.
If we're gonna do this, call off your dogs and it's just you and me.
But it's not just you and me, Gemma. Can't you feel it? 2 of the others are here as well. One has taken your friend, and the other will soon take your daughter.
Well, Orleton, they can have their fun. But like I said, let's tap them out. It's you and me right now.
He flicks his head. The flux sword goes flying over your head, Gemma, and lands in his hand. Let's see what you've got, Saint. And he goes running at you. A flurry of claws, plasma blade, back and forth.
Hold on, I gotta get on the edge of my seat.
Oh.
All right, so he will connect with an 11, brings him up to that, and he's going to spend 10 to make his hit on you with the flux sword.
Okay. Too much crack.
Yeah, right.
So what do I need to up to avoid being hit?
He spent 10.
He spent 10.
So 3 would get you to 11, but he still has points in his purse. So
I will spend. I want him to burn through it. I will spend 12.
12 more?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you bring your blade up, and it catches the edge of the force field. You know how to turn a flux sort of way so it doesn't cut through your blade. And it goes skittering off to the side, and you can feel as the claws kind of come in across your waist, leaving that nails on a chalkboard sound that kind of sounds also like the cawing of crows, since that's the back of your teeth vibrating. So that would leave Jexa, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to do, Jexa?
Well, what's going on? Am I still up here?
You're still up there, yeah. You have not snapped out of it yet.
Right. Yeah, the person in front of me shot my think machine and said we're alone, and I asked them
I think we're alone now.
to
The
leave.
beating of your heart is the only sound.
I mean, sure. So I think I know who you are, but I would like you to leave now and get out of my head, because I didn't ask for you to come into my head. So goodbye.
Do you think that will work? You are mine,
No.
Jexa Mendez.
No, I'm not yours, though. I am the Pan Creator's, and I have been sent here by the saint, Beatrice, the Lady of Light, in order to stop you. Like, I am not yours.
I would like you to give me a favorable
Okay.
faith plus focus roll. Because elsewhere. Now? Oh, yes. Now.
Last surge, then I'm out. Alright, so I got 12, and then I'm gonna bump that. Alright, I'm bumping it to 14. Yeah, I'm gonna keep that roll. Alright, so I was successful with a 12.
Okay. How much would you like to spend?
I'm going to spend 10.
All right. The Ashkagael Orleton Jexa hybrid,
I hate those words.
which even if you survive this, will haunt your nightmares forever.
Yes.
You hear, turns to you and says in a strange tripartite voice, part yours, part nasally wide, part the sound of ice shattering as glaciers collide. And you think you have the strength to do this? You are alone in here, child. And you hear behind you, no, she's not. And Perpetua comes up on your left. She's never alone. Those who walk in the light of the Pan Creator, and Father Bell is on the other side. And there is an explosion of light. And Jexa, you stand back in Orleton's room, in possession of your faculties solely for the first time since Ravenna.
Okay.
You see Samuel, eyes wide, and you can see as he kind of takes a deep breath, jams his hand forward in the restraints, twists it weird, and you can hear something snap as he pulls his hand free. And he starts working to pull his hands on the left side. Val, what are you doing?
I'm trying to get this door cut open before Erical gets swarmed by husks.
Wits plus intrusion.
Okay. I am successful.
How many?
I'll spend 10.
All right. So you size up the door. You immediately come away with what I need are explosives.
Yeah,
But what
I wish I had explosives.
What I have is a flux blade. You can't get all the door open, but if you can get just the right side.
Yeah, I
you
want to
can
get as little as possible because I want as much of it as possible to still be a choke point for the husk hordes. So just big enough to fit Ercol, and the machine and then Ercol.
Okay. So you cut it open, and you can hear the sound of the machine, like the device kind of clanging to the ground. I would hurry. And you can hear there's a tone change in Ercol's voice. It is perfectly still. No fear, no passion, just the ever-present moment that he is dwelling in. And as you get the last of it, it's still hot. You get a couple of burns on your hands. As you peel it open and slide it away, you can see the device fills your vision. And sort of through the core of it, you can see Ercol has limbered up and stands and has inscribed a circle in the steel of the deck with his blade. And you can see, reflecting from the light in your room, a dozen, then 2 dozen, then even more bright wide eyes as Ercol kind of takes a step back and slowly with his right foot as he plants it starts to push the device into the room. Again, I would hurry.
Yeah. Do you have any use for this fancy sword I found?
I will take whatever aid you can give.
I'll hand him the flux sword that I
He
just
reaches
used.
through the device and kind of takes it, and you can hear the snap of the igniting.
I'll just work on pulling the device through.
All right, you manage to work it through as the first of the husks hits the twin blades of Ercol.
Get it, Ercol.
Back in the room, Jexa, who would you like to start the round?
I have a quick question about the setup of the room.
Sure.
There's a hole in the middle of the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And water. Is the water like at that floor level or is it?
Okay. There was no air.
Okay.
Do it.
Then I am going to start the round.
All right. Go for it.
Okay.
In case you guys can't see on the camera setup, they are writing notes to each other on this massive glass whiteboard that we have at the center of the table, and I can see it. I can't read it, but it's really encouraging to me.
Here's the glass. Here's the water. Here's Alexa on a chair.
I like the plan.
Thank
I think
you.
I see where you're going with
You
this.
see where I'm going
I like
with
it.
this? Thank you.
Mhm.
I am going to look back. I see Samuel freeing himself.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know at what point I'm done with my actions, because I want to run over there, help him pull his arm free, give him my womp gun, say, I will be back, I promise. And then I'm going to turn and I'm going to dive into the water after Alexa.
That's what I thought you were going to do.
All right, that's a lot of action.
It
So I'm going to
is.
say, I'm going to have it cost a weird point just to even do all of that.
Do it.
Okay.
And then I need a dexterity plus vigor roll to get in, because it is like, oh, you cannot see Alexa anymore. Like, it is dark.
Right.
I'll totally do it.
no, because it won't work anymore.
Oh, is it one of your fingers?
Yes, one of my fingers is a flashlight.
Okay.
Don't worry. It's part of my multi-tool.
Is it the middle one?
No, that's the flame.
Yeah, it's the torch.
Yeah, that's the torch.
Well, there's torch.
Okay. Dexterity plus vigor. All right. I was successful. I'm going to spend.
It's
8.
just a hard action to
Oh,
get
okay.
into the water.
Okay, so 4.
Losing a limb or a pinky because she has cut it at a razor's edge.
Right. So 4.
Yeah, 4. So you are now in the water.
Okay.
2 things happen. One, the water is ice cold.
Mm-hmm.
The second is, well, 2 things. The second is your skin immediately goes numb. There's something else in the water besides just H2NO.
Awesome.
And I need a hold breath secondary action from you, which is just a vigor plus endurance. This does not generate anything. It just allows you to hold your breath.
I did not succeed.
Okay. We will come back to you in a second. Who would you like to go next, Jixa?
Gemma.
Okay. So it's me versus Orlaton.
Mm-hmm.
The Inquisitor's still alive, but the is dead.
The is dead because Calypso snapped his neck.
Calypso smashed his face in.
Calypso.
Okay. Then.
You know a lot about Calypso and the hand strength to twist someone's head
Right.
180
No,
degrees
it's
is
a
not
bad
one
thing,
of them.
But it happened. Okay. Since I am in front of Orlaton,
Mm-hmm.
how is he looking?
Well, like he got punched in the face by a Gemma.
Great. I'm gonna do the same thing. So I am going to attempt to restrain and maybe even choke him out. Like
Okay.
I'm trying to do like the head grab to set up for a neck twist. Yeah.
All right, go for it. Give me the roll.
Okay. It's fine. Everything's fine. Strength
Fine.
plus melee is.
No, strength plus fight.
Sorry. Is a 16. I knew what I was looking at. I just said the wrong thing.
No, no worries.
16, 10 minus 3 is 8. Oh, I critted on a 19.
Woo! Weird point.
All right, you have successfully grappled. You inflict 1 point of damage plus 1 from your Mantoc, so 2. And he is now restrained. On following turns, you can try to take him down, you can clinch to basically chokehold, or you can try to subdue him. If only Inquisitor Flint were here, he would be so proud of the grapple. All right, Gemma, who's going next? You have Samuel, you have Orlaton, and you have Calypso, and the Inquisitor. So you got 3 people to choose from.
I'm going to have Samuel go.
All right. Samuel takes the womp gun and levels it at the Inquisitor.
Yeah, he does.
That's what I figured he'd do.
Good boy. Did he crit on it?
Samuel critted with the womp gun.
That's my.
Gemma, you see a
That was
blast of
weird.
sound hit the Inquisitor and send him flying and pinwheeling back onto the dais. He's not dead, but he's definitely... Oh, screw it. He's going to spend... Like, what does he need VP for at this point? He will spend to add 7 more damage to that.
Yes, he will.
When the Inquisitor hits, it hits with that snapping noise that lets you know the puppet's strings or bones have been broken.
Good.
And just kind of lies there on the floor.
That's a Hawkwood I can support.
It is Orlaton's turn, and Orlaton kind of, you know, you're already too late. This body is but the vessel for her birth, much as her body is the vessel for his. And when you look over at Calypso, you can see there are 2 curling ram's horns over her eyes, and her eyelids are like her eyes are completely black. And she just slowly turns towards Samuel and very slowly stalks towards him. Val.
Okay, I have 3 questions for you.
I have answers to 2.
Okay. First question. Okay, I have 3.5 questions. First question, how toast is my gun that misfired? Does it still
it's fine.
have... Okay.
Yeah.
Question 1.5, would it be possible for me to create an overload in the laser ammo, in like the ammo clip, because it's a power cell? Can I overload that power cell and turn it into an explosive blow-up husk weapon?
So, power cells are specifically designed not to do that. It would be a tech redemption roll, and it would be a primary action to do it. So that would be what you would do with your turn. And it would be very difficult.
I have good tech redemption, actually. Oh, decent tech redemption. I have tech redemption.
It's acceptable.
It's more than I can say.
It's not great.
Knowing what I know, because I've spent my whole life working with explosives, how big of a boom do I feel like this is gonna make? Not enough to make a difference, or?
Like, it may take out, like, if they're clustered, you could take out maybe, like, a half dozen, but there are a lot of them out there.
Okay, so we'll maybe wait on that for a minute. What's it going to take for me to get this device onto the core that it needs to go onto and ready? I don't want to activate it. I just want to get it ready.
It's a primary action.
Okay.
It would take strength plus vigor
Oh, God.
to lift it up and put it in place.
That's disgusting.
And just because of the awkwardness of it, it's going to be a 6 spend to get it in place. But here's the thing, Val. Even as you're looking at it, you're like, at one point you're like, really? Is this it? And you get this feeling like, again, right person, right place, right time. The device was built to be as simple to install as it needed to be. No offense for you.
I'm actually very intelligent.
I
Let's
know
just
you
shoot
are.
Saying about
first.
Gemma.
I'm actually very smart.
No.
Oh, that you're actually, that I'm not dumb as a brick.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna try to install it to where it's the simplest possible. So
Do you want to use a weird point on this?
I will. But
got
do I
them.
get the sense that if I click it into place where it's aligned with the control panel, that will activate it, or is it a button press on the control panel?
You've got to put your hand on the activation.
Okay,
Push the button.
then I will get it fully set up to where it is ready for me to push the button.
Okay.
I will use the weird point that I had, so not one from the pool.
We still have 5 on
Okay.
top of yours.
Okay,
Like all together,
okay.
got 5 left.
And strength plus vigor?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Wait, what is my number? Strength is 4, vigor is 4,
So 8.
and that's an 8. So I get my weird
Okay.
point back.
You get your
Yay!
weird point back. All right, Val lifts
Right
the
time,
thing,
right place.
locks it
I'm
in
not sure about
place,
the person.
and that power conduit immediately lights up, and the light spreads slowly up above the ceiling of the room and down into the floor, beneath the floor, following the conduit down. And you can see it says on the panel, reconfiguring. You can also see, every time you glance, in that circle that he's kind of circumscribed on the floor, Ercole is holding the line against the husks as they are coming towards you. Anyone who passes that line on the floor loses limbs and faces and heads.
Okay. I'm gonna get on the squawker and go, Gemma, I don't know if you can hear me. It's set. You need to go now. We can't hold here much longer.
Gemma, you hear that.
And I will pull out my gun and get ready to shoot anyone who gets past Ercole. We're gonna hold as long as we can for the rest of them to get out.
All right, it is definitely going to be Calypso Azazel's turn.
Yeah,
This is great.
it's fine.
Oh, I get
Everything's fine.
VP.
Are you interrupting, Gemma?
I mean, she hasn't gone this round, so I don't think I can interrupt. Right?
This is the start of a brand new round.
Oh, it's the start of a brand new round?
Yeah.
Yeah, then I will interrupt. And I will look at Samuel and I will say, you better get the girl. And then whispering in Orlaton's ear.
No, those are not good words
Should I
together.
say that he kind of
I mean, as whispering as someone who has like a lot of hearing damage and is pumped full of radiation can whisper, so let's be honest, it's not really a risk.
Your normal talking voice.
Um,
You're usually shouting.
with his head in a vice, say, well, if you're a vessel for them, then you need to know that Gemma died a long time ago, and I am but a mere vessel for Beatrice, and she will just
try and snap his head.
Snap
Yeah,
it!
do.
Give me a strength plus fight roll.
Snap it like a glow stick!
I'm gonna use a weird point on that. Are we okay
yeah,
with that?
Yes!
Yeah.
Great.
Burn them. What else are we gonna use them for? I shouldn't have said that.
I succeed with a 15.
All right. His resistance is at a 2 right now because he is immobilized. What do you want to inflict? Like, what's the damage on this?
So I was at 26 and I rolled a 15, so I'm at 41. Okay. Oh wait, no. I wasn't at 26, I was at 15.
15. Yeah, you're at 30.
So I'm at 30. So I need a little bit left.
Don't you have a surge?
I'm 20. It's time to fight Calypso.
Yeah, you're supposed to fight the demon captain.
I will dump. What is it? 2 for 2?
2 for 1.
2 for 1. I will dump 20. And as I do it, again, thinking she's whispering, but let's be honest, Gemma hasn't whispered in many years. She will recite part of the litany that she's written, so she will whisper in his ear as she snaps it, "Hail Beatrice, lady so fair, may your light shine softly on those under your care." And we'll just pour
There's
Orlaton
Way to
down.
send him off.
Much like the Ur being that Calypso neck snapped,
10.
you snap Orlaton's neck. His body falls lifeless to the ground.
So great.
I hope the mics picked that up.
And then she will turn and stare down Calypso. And she will pick Samuel to go next and pray that Samuel gets them out of the water.
Oh, you should have.
Samuel's legs are still tied to the chair,
Yeah.
but he is like scooting away. He's going to try and hit Calypso.
Great.
He is going to miss.
Okay. Can he
Calypso.
Yeah.
So he'll pick Jexa, but Calypso will still get to go.
That's
And
fine.
Calypso at this point turns and turns away from Samuel, focused on Jen. Jexa. So
Yeah.
that first roll that you failed, you got your breath. You held your breath.
Yeah.
The bad news is that the water is laced with the same drugs from the original.
No!
Okay.
How many times has Jexa been high?
So,
This is the first time.
Jexa, you have an
you were
additional
high on
minus
meds.
2 to all goal rolls as you are
Another
in
minus
the
2?
euphoric state.
Well, Jam, aren't we all in
4.
spacesuits? So wouldn't she be
Yeah,
protected
we
from
were
the water?
suited up.
That is an interesting point.
We were in suits because we weren't sure about life support on the station.
Jexa or Gemma is definitely compromised.
Well, right. That's
And no, because because the claw from
The puncture.
Wilton
okay.
pierced
Just wanted
through
to
this,
ask.
the thing. No, that was a good question. I'm going to give you a weird point for it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So Jexa, you know that this is the 4th turn since Alexa went into the water.
Yes.
If you don't find her on this turn,
Yes.
she is probably dead.
Yes.
But
You
she
don't
went out high?
care as necessarily as much because you don't know what this sensation is, but you kind of want to give everyone a hug.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Okay.
What do you do?
I turn on my light and look for Alexa and find her.
You hear the same squawk from Val, although it's really garbled. Go ahead and give me a perception plus observe roll as you search the murk for Alexa. At -4 from being both scared and high. Euphoric is the technical term.
Right?
Uh-huh. How's this compared to your painkiller
Experience? Oh, it's similar but different,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
No! I am, because of my euphoria, I miss.
Okay. All right. We will come back to you here in a second. Gemma, you see Calypso starting to come towards you, smiling wider than she's ever smiled. You know, I think it's sort of appropriate. For the longest time, my sister and I have, well, been at odds, we shall say. And perhaps a change of identity signals a change of allegiances. Oh, you may want to watch this. It's sure to be spectacular, and you can hear something clawing its way out of the body you dropped behind you.
Okay.
Val, what do? Taking a shot?
Yeah, I'm just gonna take out as many of these husks as I can. So I pulled out my storm rifle that I had, and I'm just gonna shoot past Ercole at any that are trying to get around him.
Okay, give me a shot.
Yeah, as long as I don't roll in a 20, I'm fine. That's a 15. That's a success.
So here's what I will let you know. Your Martech does 5 points.
This is my storm rifle. This is the big gun.
What is it? What's the base damage
It does
on that?
6.
It does 6? Okay. So if you spend 14 points, you kill a husk. You
Okay.
hit and kill a husk.
Okay.
All right. The shot rings out, and Ercole kind of spins and looks at you. Seems we both get to choose our terms. And goes back. He's not trying to kill them unless it presents itself. He's trying to keep them forced back.
Yeah.
Calypso,
staying,
Azazel. Oh, go
I'm
ahead.
staying where I can reach the panel. Like I'm not stepping away from the control panel. I want to stay within reach of it. So if I have to hit it quick, I can.
Okay. You know, he hated you with a passion that defies, well, human reason is probably why my sister, or considering the body they occupy, perhaps my brother now. Perhaps now I am the reflection of her. Or him. Corporeal forms are so tricky. But he had one more surprise from you, and you can hear a skittering noise. He seemed to think that this would somehow hurt you most of all. And you can see coming from the dais, something has raised up and kind of is flat and clinks up onto metallic legs. 8 of them. And you can see the dopey grin has been replaced with serrated metal fangs.
It's Octavius.
As Octavius comes towards you. I assume Gemma is going to interrupt.
Yeah, I guess so.
Go for it.
Are you gonna squish the bug?
Yeah, she's going to, reach into, I'm assuming she has pockets or something, pull out a dagger and kick it over to Samuel and be like, come
Are
on!
you going to have Samuel go next?
No, well, I'm gonna kick him a blade and then I'm gonna
Yep.
spin and turn on Octavius and be like, whew, this is so bad, but I'm gonna quote Gina Davis and I'm gonna say, bad dog. And I am gonna lay into Octavius with
Bad
the
dog.
Roll
wire
to hit.
blade. Okay, so this is 15. Yeah, it's Octavius.
Hey,
The-
It's a really great song that's playing.
Yeah, I hit with a 13.
You cut the soft flesh of the octopuppy in twain, and as it falls to the ground, you definitely hear something beeping from within it.
Oh,
Who's going next, Gemma? Calypso, Jexa, or Samuel? Or the thing that is being birthed. It's really just being birthed this turn. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
I will have. What? Jexa go.
Jexa. Through the haze of fear, through the haze of the euphoria as the drugs kind of roll through your system, you're starting to find it hard to hold your breath.
Aware that I failed Alexa,
Oh.
I am going to turn around and go back because I can't hold my breath any longer.
All right, give me a perception plus observe roll.
Gemma's flashlight's on.
that's a number.
It is, but it's
I thought
one. I was one off.
Oh.
Jexa, as you look up,
I thought you got to pick the better of the two.
Mm-mm. No, for favorable, you actually roll, and if you don't like it, you can roll the second one.
Oh,
But
I
you
thought
have
that
to
was
take the
Torg.
second one. It's similar.
Okay.
Jexa, as you look up, the darkness above you looks identical.
Mm-hmm.
A vast sea of blackness above and below.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going next? Samuel or Calypso?
Samuel.
All right. Well, Samuel critted on his dexterity plus vigor.
He's having
So-
a good night.
He's having a
Other than the
great
fact that he's
night.
been tied to a chair.
Samuel, Gemma, you see Samuel cut himself free, nicking his leg because he didn't do nearly as well with that. He runs and jackknifes into the hole. Jexa, you can see Samuel racing toward you because you got your little light on you.
Hey,
And
buddy.
he kind of grabs,
That one.
Oh, I know.
trying to speak to Samuel underwater was not a great decision. As
No.
more of the liquid gets in your
Mhm.
Gemma, for 5 horrendous heartbeats, you see nothing. And then Samuel pushes Jexa up out of the hole and climbs out himself. It is now Calypso's turn.
I like him.
No grace for Orlaton, then? Perhaps we were right. You know, she's still in here. But she's not fighting. She's sort of given up. Over and over again. This is what I deserve. This is what I deserve. This is what I deserve. I swear, there is no greater sentence in the whole of the galaxy above or below. I'm going to have her watch as I rip out your throat. And she comes right at you.
Okay.
She kind of crosses the intervening. Oh, balls. Intervening distance and rolls a 14 out of 14.
Oh,
Okay.
So she does 6. And she is going to spend 7. She's going to do 15 to you, Jexa. Or to you, Gemma.
So, because of the way the economy of my last roll worked, my defense is up by 4 because I had 8 VP that carried over that I couldn't bank. So it goes towards.
It's a critical hit. It doesn't
Okay.
touch your...
Okay. So she does what?
what did I say, 15?
Yeah, but I'm really curious how you did the math.
Oh,
on that.
13.
Oh,
I was off by 2. 13.
better.
Okay.
Okay. Gemma blinks out of consciousness, but then bounces back up.
So when you feel Gemma, Jexa, your eyes open and you see Calypso put her hand through the Serasteel plate of Gemma into her chest and pull it out bloody. Gemma kind of staggers back a second, drops to her knee. Gemma, for a brief moment, the darkness kind of comes in on the corners of your eyes. And then there is a woman of light who just kind of reaches down, grabs your hand, and pulls you back onto your feet.
When I saw that, I cough up water and I go, Mom? What are you doing?
Mommy's busy right now. Stay down. Val, the husks are pressing in. Your best guess is even with your shots and Ericle's skill, you've got maybe 30 seconds, a minute, before his blades aren't going to be enough.
Gemma, Jexa, can you hear me? Can either of them respond?
They can.
Yeah? What?
Can you get out?
A little busy. Hold please.
We can't.
How functioning am I, JM?
How what?
Like how is my mental acuity doing right now?
You're at a
I
-4. You
Right.
can make decisions.
Can I make a logical conclusion?
Sure.
Okay.
When you say that, Val, and you hear we're a little busy, Eric kind of, you see him pause, nod, and he takes his sword and he slams it down into the ground so it sticks points up, And he reaches back and he starts to push that metal piece back into position. Pushing it back, and you can see the plasma blade starting to flare on the side as he's basically turning his back to seal you in the room.
Okay, I going to stand with my hand over the control panel, hearing that they're a little busy right now,
Sorry,
which
I don't,
is
I don't have a better answer.
not helpful. And I will close my eyes, and I'm going to think about Falcosis and Gemma, what Perpetua did in the hallway. With my eyes closed, I'm just going to say, Beatrice, I've never had any faith. But those people who are fighting have it. They have more faith in you than I've ever seen anyone have faith in anything. They need a miracle to get off this station. If you have any grace to spare, if my life and Erkel's are worth anything to you, please, I'll have faith. Just get them out.
Give me a faith plus focus roll.
I'm using a weird point.
Totally fair. Do you want to spend any from your bank?
I'm going to. I just need to do the math.
Okay.
I will spend 7. No, I will surge.
Okay.
I'm gonna surge, so I get a lot. And I will spend 12 to get it to a 19.
Nice.
Okay. Give me the roll.
You got
And I
this.
spent a weird point.
Yep.
I succeed with a 14.
Nice.
And that is a miraculous rating.
Yep.
And I will spend all of them.
All right.
I'll spend whatever I have to.
Gemma, as that hand pulls you up, you see a smiling face standing behind her. As I told Jexa, never alone. I'm the guide, and the guide works both ways. And you can see as the light starts to grow brighter, you see a four-armed creature kind of step forward out of the light. And another battle order with pauldrons and a stern expression. And a barbarian, Vuldroxy scout. We'll keep her distracted. Runner goes leaping at Calypso. Brother Gabriel also engaging. Hrothgar shouting what you could either be prayers or curses. It's kind of hard to tell. You don't speak Vuldrox. Who's going next?
Is this a new round?
It's a new round. You see Brother Gabriel walk up to the body of Orlaton as you can see bird-like talons starting to tear his skin open. I never liked crows. And he brings the blade down on the center of the chest.
So, Gemma will interrupt whoever was up, and will look Samuel dead in the eye and say, "Get her out of here."
He just picks up Jexa, like fireman carry, and starts running.
This isn't the Princess Carrie.
And she will. Okay. She will walk towards Calypso.
Runner's got one arm held, and this barbarian has the other one held.
And she will simply place her hand on Calypso's chest and say, "You were always good enough for her. You were always meant to be her mother. Be her mother." And is going to try and call Calypso out and leave Azazel.
And leave Azazel.
Yes, so separate the two.
Okay.
Right.
We will. You can give me an unfavored
You have a weird point to make it straight.
faith plus it's just going to be a straight faith roll. No, we'll make it faith plus empathy.
Faith plus empathy is 8, 11, 12. So I still have that 8 to dump in. So that gets.
And actually, okay, yeah, go ahead.
No, actually.
So you're going to roll twice and pick the worst of the two.
So can I spend a weird point and just make it straight?
You can.
So I have that 8 VP that I couldn't carry over into my protection, so that would automatically dump into this. Yes, goes towards your next roll. Okay. I succeed with an 8. You're
We can't
muted,
hear
Jan.
you.
With an 8, you start to separate the two forces. But the problem that you're running into, Gemma, is that while Calypso is Jexa's mother, she still has to be the one who turns to the repentance. You can't save someone else. You can only bring them to the threshold, if that makes sense.
As I am struggling with it, she'll look her in the eye and she will say, I joined your crew uncertain of what I was getting into. And I don't have a lot of friends. In fact, all of my friends have left this earth. But I count you as my friend Calypso, and I don't want to leave you behind. So I am asking you to stay for Jexa, to stay for Gregor, to stay for Lucia, to stay for the future that you have. You are enough, and you will always be enough.
Jexa.
Yeah.
Samuel was booking it.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, we got a little bit of an echo.
Bad echo.
There we go. He is fleeing
Uh-huh.
on instinct,
Okay.
carrying you through the hall with the creepy heads towards the docking ring. Jexa, I need directions.
Yeah, I can give them to you.
All right. You get to You can see the umbilicus that is connecting the Oh Boii to the station.
Uh-huh.
You can see there are a large pile of husks. There are several who are down, who are kind of like hunched over, looking back and forth. And they hear Samuel, and he kind of skids to a halt. And you see something drop from the ceiling, and two things go into the necks of two of the three husks, and then push forward. And Frank lands among the bodies and
Hey,
starts
Frank!
skittering at the other husk.
Oh my gosh, Frank! You're amazing!
Is that thing with us?
Yes, it's our puppy! Isn't he adorable?
He just goes running down the hall.
Okay. I'm gonna come and I'm gonna say, hey, Lucia, Gregor, we're some of us are coming in. Hey Val, Gemma sent me ahead, but I think she's working on it. You got time? You're good? Good.
Not really.
You hear over the squawker, Gregor's out, but we fixed the ship. I'm ready to go, but we need to be ready to leave soon. Everyone needs to get back here, or we need to just accept we're not getting out of this.
Erkel and I aren't coming.
What?
We can't get out. You have to go. As soon as
Find
Gemma's,
another way.
As soon as Gemma's on, you have to leave. Lucia,
I'm not believing you.
It's either me or all of you. You do the math.
Val, I can't.
You can. Can for Gregor and Jexa. They need you. And they need to live.
All right, you heard the lady. If you're not on this ship in 2 minutes, I'm gone.
Lucia. Mom,
Yes, Val.
I love you.
I love you too, Val. I'm so damn proud of you. All right, Gemma and Calypso. In a burst of rage, Azazel rips Calypso's arm free from Hrothgar and turns and howls at the image of the barbarian, and it disappears. It rips its arm free from the 96,000 legs of Runner, snapping off bits of light.
I had over 1 million, so you know. I started
No.
with 6.
We will end this the old way, the way of sacrifice and blood. You are not the first saint to die under my hands, and you will not be the last. Calypso, what's going on in your head? Like, literally. As you were possessed by, you were tattooed by an oar. You have 2 ram's horns on your forehead. You were fully inhabited by Azazel. You sort of gave up, and Gemma's doing her damnedest to kind of free you.
Also, Lucia's leaving in 2 minutes.
So I think what would be going, because I did hear what Gemma had said. I think Calypso would be getting really angry, not at Gemma, but at the fact that she's being controlled and she has a control problem and nobody gets to control Calypso Mars.
Yes.
And she should probably see a therapist. And I think she would be focusing on the faces of everybody that Gemma has brought up. Jexa, obviously, the most, front and center, and that she's angry at herself for not being there in Jexa's formative years, but she's also angry mostly that she didn't believe anything that Gemma said. And like at this point she can't not believe anymore. Like she spent most of her life being like, I'm a worthless piece of pirate and I don't deserve to be a mom. And now she's angry that she's like, yes you do, you little. And so there's a lot of anger, but there's a lot of focus on like trying to like claw back into like her own body.
Jam, you're muted.
I will need a faith plus focus roll from you, Calypso.
We have a lot of weird points, so you're welcome to use a weird point.
Please use a weird
Okay.
point.
Sorry, I just realized when I was having, my rampant chest pains earlier, I put all my stuff away. So, no momentum. Okay.
It really is freezing over.
Right.
Colin's making Calypso's fighting a demon.
I'm just gonna, in the spirit of brevity, can you roll for me?
Sure, what do I need to get you? Or we'll let Jexa do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
For your mom.
So my faith is 5.
Okay.
Fun fact, it increased because her faith, not in religion, but her faith in Gemma increased. So if Calypso has a god, it's starting to look like Gemma, but let's not talk about that.
Oh, no.
Oh.
I will say, Calypso, battle buns aren't going to fit under your hats.
And then what was the other part?
Focus.
8. Faith plus focus. Oh Jesus, I need a weird point. My focus is 3.
You also
Right,
have
so
a
you
lot
need-
of VP you can dump in, because I don't... Oh, no, you're out of surges. Do you have any VP left?
Yeah, I'm out of surges.
All right.
Ooh, Jam, can I say that my speech was inspiring? And give her
Was it
some
an
VP?
Inspiring speech? Yeah. It was inspiring. I was inspired.
I would allow you to retroactively use that to give
Great.
her some VP.
I'll give
How much
her-
do you have in your pool?
I have 15.
Okay. How much are you going to give her?
She's at 8
I'll give her 10.
Okay.
right now. Lee, do you want to use all 10?
The answer is yes.
Probably.
All right. That gets her to an 18.
Wow.
Ugh, 3. That's our
That's a
best.
success.
It is a success.
That is a success. That is not enough VP, but it is moving towards the threshold.
Do you have another weird point, Lee?
I do, yeah.
If you can convert it into VP and get a total of 6.
Okay.
For a little more
Yeah.
punch.
That would take me down. I have 1 VP, or I'm sorry, I have 1 weird point of my own personal one left.
Okay.
All right. All right. So at 6 plus the 8 that Gemma did this, I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is, Gemma, you see Calypso kind of step forward, and Calypso, for the first time since that Ananuki ruin where you called upon Azazel, you are now free of his influence. You are free of his influence, and you are fully in control of your own actions, remembering that which you have done, and that which Azazel made you do. And as Brother Gabriel fades, having put at last to rest the last fragment of Ashkagael, you see as if Calypso's shadow kind of stays Gemma. And rising up is a ram's-headed man, naked chest, goat legs, kind of stunned, and you can still hear that beeping, and it's getting faster. I had you once. I'll have you again.
If I'm allowed, Gemma, without thinking, is just gonna bum rush Azazel and yell at Calypso to run.
Calypso?
I want a little bit of clarification. Calypso didn't turn into the ram. It's
She
now a
was the-
separate entity.
It is now a separate entity.
So like exorcism halfway done here. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you...
Gemma says to run. Oh,
Gemma
God.
says to run.
Gemma says to run, and Gemma says she needs a parent, and it was never gonna be me. And just bum
No,
rushes.
no,
Yeah.
don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
Too late. She said it. Tackle the
I'm
demon.
crying.
Well, Calypso,
No.
do you stay or do you go?
No, stop. I don't want to go.
It's your choice. You're free. The thing that stands before you that Gemma is rushing to engage is the thing that killed Falcosis. But you also have a clear line to the ship.
She stays. She's just gonna look at Gemma and be like, you know, I've never like really listened to you. And
Oh my gosh, that's so true.
she'll,
All right.
I'm assuming she has her weapons.
So at this point, as you engage with this creature, Ashkagael, is there anything you say on the Squawker?
Me?
Either of you.
I want to say something like super badass, like we're gonna blow this guy, but I don't know.
Jam, how far are we from the ship at this point?
You're a ways away from the ship. If Lucia's leaving in 2 minutes, if you engage in a protracted fight, you are fighting to keep Azazel on the station.
We
Ooh,
could.
oh no, Gemma's got it. Gemma's got it. She's gonna come and she's gonna get on the comm and she's gonna say, Gregor,
He's out.
He's out.
I don't care. She's
Oh.
gonna get on the comm and say, Gregor, if you can hear me, I need you to tell your wife to come home.
Unfortunately, Gregor is sedated, having
I
fixed the ship. I know you don't know that.
and I don't care. That's still what she's gonna call out as she is bum rushing this guy.
All right.
She's not above
Cool.
emotional manipulation at this point because she needs Calypso to leave.
Calypso, do you say anything? Because you've said you're staying. You can change it here and now, or you can send a message to the ship.
Does Calypso know the status of Gregor right now?
No.
Nope.
Does she know the status of anybody right now?
You know that you have heard that Val is ready to punch the button when you are, and that Lucia has Jexa and some kid, Samuel,
And Frank.
and that she's ready to leave when you guys get there, or in less than 2 minutes, because
Is this room? Can I get a brief description of this room?
yeah, at this point it's kind of a large empty space with the raised dais on the side. There's a hole in the floor that leads down to a drug-laced death pool, and then behind you is the doors that lead out. There's also a large bay area where you kind of feel like that's where things are brought in for the entertainment of the Count's guests. Let's not get too detailed into that.
Wait, so there's a large hole that leads to what? I'm so sorry.
There's like a large set of doors that lead to like where you're guessing the animals were brought in, or the
Okay.
or things like that. That's where Jexa was initially ushered into this.
So there's nothing that is immediately like an entrapment. Like you can't get somebody trapped in something.
There's the hole in the floor. But here's the thing: if you take a primary action that is not running away right now, you are engaged in the fight.
Oh my god, she can't leave Jackson and Gregor.
Nope.
Nope.
Do you go?
She's gonna be really mad.
All right.
And she's gonna, I don't know what she's gonna say, because I'm emotionally distraught. She'll probably say something like, God, can I say damn it? Well, I already said it. She'll say, God damn it, Gemma. And she's gonna run.
All right. Val,
Where's my-
you hear, I've got Calypso. We're sealing the doors. Love you, Lee.
This looks great. I look like I have a beard.
I'll wait as long as I can for you to get as far away as you can.
It's a black hole, dear. There's no far away. There's only a prayer of a chance.
I'll wait
You
as
hear
long
a-
as I can.
You hear a little pinging noise from the other side. You still in there?
Yeah.
You can kind of hear something flump against the door and slide down. Anything you want to confess?
I always cheat at cards.
I was always hoping Gemma and I would make it out of this.
Me too.
Well, if there's nothing else, I think I'm going to close my eyes for a bit. Just a second.
Rest well.
You too, Val. Do you hit it?
Yes.
Gonna take a last deep breath and remember that flash of warmth I felt when Beatrice intervened. Sola gratia, and I'm gonna push the button.
For a brief second, Val, as you put your hand on the button, you look up, you see your reflection in the light of, or in the sheen of the material, and you definitely see your mother and your father there smiling at you. And everything goes white. Gemma, bleeding from multiple wounds, holding your own against this thing. You hear clearly, reignition. From-
Oh. Sorry, did you have more?
Yeah, are you?
I mean.
You will get a final word in. Do not worry.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
From either Calypso and Jexa, you can see Milan Station lights up. Something strikes it like a bolt of thunder from the heavens. On Lemminkainen, Hadrian's Wall explodes as a blast of light rises from it, connecting it to the jump gate. Traveling along the path, overwhelming the Ur-Tech, or perhaps working with it. It interrupts starships, it interrupts noble ships with priority keys. Blasting through the cordon, catching some of the armada, and striking Milan Station, burrowing down through that massive comm relay that Jexa recognized. What was your, what do you want to say, Gemma?
So, I took this a long time ago and I've never used it.
Okay.
But one of Gemma's capabilities is she has music lore.
Okay. Percussion, if I remember correctly.
Correct, but go with it. So as
I'm
she
listening.
is wrestling with Azazel. You actually hear her start singing.
Okay.
And it's this surprisingly clear tone. But she's never really shared it with anyone else because it's Gemma and she doesn't do that. But she starts singing a refrain over and over that says, "Come, O Beatrice, radiant as the sun. Though your life has ended, our work has just begun."
As the light starts to pull up, Jexa, you definitely see from the window that Samuel has kind of like you demanded to be brought up to the cockpit. Obviously, you can see the beam strikes not just into the heart of the black hole, seemingly resisting the gravitational pull, but spears one of those void krakens that you saw going, and it too illuminates. Calypso, would you rush to the cockpit and try to fly out, or would you let Lucia do this? Or perhaps Jexa, but she's high and should definitely not be behind the stick of a...
She's gonna let Lucia do this, and she's gonna take stock of Jexa and maybe probably like do like the mom thing where they like touch the face and then the neck and
Yeah.
and then then they start to calm down.
Jexa, your mother, not Captain Mars, not Azazel, not even Calypso the pirate. Your mother rushes to see if you're okay on the cockpit. And Lucia says, "Hold on, Dior," and she floors it, and everything goes white. Gemma, right before the white light, you hear a deeply resonant voice join with you in the singing. And that is where, no, I would be a complete jerk.
Don't you dare.
That is where
Don't you dare. I will go through this screen and beat you up.
Jexa, Calypso, Lucia. When you not come to, because you never lose consciousness, but when the light and the noise and the adrenaline passes, you can see the wreckage of the abandoned fleet. You can hear squawks coming over from the Imperial Watch in awe. Because when you look out the port side of the Oh Boii, you see a radiant sun burning bright and yellow. Some time passes, and if I may set up a scene, you stand on the Van Dorm estate, recovered physically. Word of this new sun has spread through
You're muted.
igniting hope. Scientists can't explain it. Your role has been downplayed, at least at this point, because of, well, Francisco's efforts. You stand hearing the sound of the sea, hearing the call of the gulls, standing near the cliff's edge, where the Oh Boii would always be. 3, 4 small stone shrines. The 2 on the end for Alexa and Aircole. 2 in the middle next to Ericol's gemmas, and Val's next to that. You haven't had much time to process, mainly to heal. There's one piece of news that comes through, that Lucia comes and tells both of you as you sit next to the bed, Gregor's hands slowly regenerating. Well, they've named it.
Oh?
I'll be honest, I was hoping for Falcosus. But Francesco was rather severe about this. And seeing as he is the one who led the Imperial cartographers, you should know there's no sign of the station. Inquisitors have begun a witch hunt for the abandoned. But that one, she points up into the night sky, that one right there. Impossible for you to pick out one star, but you think you can see it. The star named Gemma, burning in the night sky. So, Jexa and Calypso, what do you end up doing? How does your story end? Who would like to go first?
Well, I guess I can. Well, there's obviously Samuel and Lorenzo
Oh, he's definitely.
and Bessarion. So
Find a way to make it work.
I'm gonna find a way to make it work. Somehow, some way. But in that, making sure that the rest of the people from Limbus make it back and are safe. And if this has changed any of the fate of Limbus, because the stars did not fade, but instead came back. Yeah, I'm gonna try to make it work. We'll see how it goes. Also, she's going to go and make sure she works her way up the Engineers Guild, trying to figure out those mysteries that she has seen that Beatrice left behind.
All right. I will come to you in a second. No, we'll go with Calypso now. Calypso, how does Calypso's story end, or at least the next chapter of her story begin?
I think the next chapter would be trading out the fancy hats and the life of a pirate for more, probably of a stable life, I would assume, on the Van Dorm estate with Gregor.
Are you now Lady Van Dorn?
Please, there already is one. Her name is Lucia.
Yeah, if you want to fight my mom for that, feel free.
Yeah. No. But I think she would have scraped off the painted lady paint off of the Oh Boii, since that never happened. But I think she would have given the Oh Boii to Jexa and said it's done her well, but she doesn't need it anymore. And yeah, I think she'd give the Oh Boii to Jexa, and I think her next chapter would be looking after, her very much quickly, way too soon, almost adult daughters, their relationship, and also having a more quiet life with Gregor, with, I'm sure many a nightly consult as Jexa goes, how do I do the thing?
So Jackson
Well.
knows.
One night, not too far in the future, Lucia is standing there in the hall with Gregor. No, a little more to the left. Perfect. I think they really captured her. You know. Yeah, Gregor, I do. You know, it's time to update yours. We only keep current pictures of the family in this hall. And they go walking away from the plaque that says Val Van Dorn in the hall. Gemma, Val, you awaken. No aches, no pain, just bright blue skies above you. Fresh, soft grass underneath. And a voice calling out in his deeply resonant tones. Well, it's about time both of you got here, as Erkel is climbing up the hill with not with a sword, but with a staff in his hand. And you can see standing next to him is a beautiful woman, not as radiant as you have seen her before, but nonetheless a beautiful lady of light. That is where we'll bring our campaign to a close. I know you guys have been this has been an emotional ringer of an episode, and we are well over our normal time. But I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for letting me tell the story of the crew of the Oh Boii with you. We'll do all of our thanks to the chat and everything else later. What are your guys' thoughts right now? Like both the Fading Suns and the system. Any questions? If you guys don't want to do this right now, we don't have to. But Maddie and Becca both know this is kind of my MO at the end of a campaign. Did you guys like the game? Not the story, the game. We started playing this again in January or February many years ago. We were learning the rules. I think the first time we played, we were sitting on the floor of Becca and Maddie's apartment trying to figure out how cover and movement and combat worked. Do you feel like you've got a good grasp of the system now after playing it for as long as we have?
I mean, I think what is really fun and beautiful about Fading Suns is we've been playing it for 3 years and there's still a million things I don't know. There's such a unique ability to craft a multitude of characters and to lean into the facets of those characters in such a way that if I were to pick this up in a week from now, need time to mourn Gemma, I could build a completely different character and go a completely different route and learn something completely different about this game. So I've really enjoyed being able to kind of burrow into a character, but there's so much opportunity to do something different.
Yeah.
But Jam, you would have to create my next character just to keep in line.
Yeah. I'll be honest. Math is hard for me. but if I have muddled through, mostly to the help of my wonderful companions. Shut up. I've enjoyed it. What I also liked though is that actually is a testament to Fading Suns and how easy it is to pick it up. Is that me, a person who's bad with math, who's bad with game mechanics, and yet still GMs 5e, but if I can pick it up and know somewhat of what I'm doing and get into the rhythm, that I think it's a testament for how the game is built to Ulysses.
Bill, if you ever watch this, thank you for the world and the game.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And any other thoughts on Fading Suns, the system? Any questions about the? Like, it's been a joy for me to run. I love the fact that fate is an attribute on the character sheet. Some of you may know that about me, or even just from watching this. I do think if I'm going to run another Fading Suns game soon, I will definitely lean more into, as I said before, like the technosis. We didn't really get into that because you guys didn't really have enough artifacts for it to like really matter.
I kept looking for them.
So, any thoughts on the story, on the way it ended? Any questions about the campaign? Anything you guys want, like favorite moments, that kind of thing, before we kind of wrap up for the evening and wrap up this campaign? And this is the last stream of 2021, which is sort of mind-boggling to me.
Frank lived, right?
Yeah, Frank lived. Frank killed a bunch of husks
Oh, yeah.
to clear the path.
Okay. Sorry, as I said, my own personal COVID woes. I wasn't sure, but okay.
Yeah, no,
That
Frank
was my biggest
lived. Octavius died.
I brutally murdered Octavius.
Is that
Alexis.
the other?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the
Another dump.
octopuppy.
That's a little bit sad. Any animal death is a little sad to me, but okay.
Yes.
They also had given it metal teeth and implanted a grenade in the middle of it. So
Turned it into a robot.
Oh.
So it really wasn't a puppy anymore, if that helps.
The cyborg
Robo
puppy.
Oh, favorite moments. Oh, go ahead, Lee.
I'm so sorry. I have one more question. What happened to Tag?
Oh, when you killed him the last time, that was the last time.
Oh, he was okay.
He's
okay.
dead.
Okay. I just want to make sure because Calypso now envisions a pretty nice, quiet life. Doesn't mean no ex-boyfriends coming around.
That's right. That's right.
And then I will save my favorite moments until later because I've asked enough questions.
Do the citizens of Limbus survive?
That's a frighteningly long
I-
pause.
I don't know if they survive long term, but at least at the point that Jexa goes to aid them, yes.
And gets them off planet and everything? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Okay. And does Basarian the commune have to return to Limbus, or does he get to, like...
No, he has to return to Limbus.
Alright, so there's only 2 on the ship.
I mean, you could do long distance.
I mean, yeah.
Could you go visit him? do the one
Well,
weekend
let's
a
just
year?
focus on Lorenzo and Samuel, okay?
Okay.
Like, I mean...
if it affects your decision at all, Samuel definitely has Gemma's blessing.
Yeah, he definitely pulled you out of
He's-
Euphoria water and ran you to the ship.
I
think
want
that
you
makes
to
him a
know,
front
I'm
runner.
pretty sure Lorenzo has also saved Jexa's
I'm
life.
just telling you, in her final moments.
But did he pull you out of a space station in a
No.
black hole
No.
in a pit of Euphoria water and run through husks to save your life?
No, he didn't. I don't think Lorenzo did that. No.
Yeah, if that happened twice in this campaign, I'm getting rusty.
I had a nickel.
Right?
Lee, if you have them, you should share your favorite moments, because I'm...
Yeah, like, and you don't have to. Like, we can wrap this up. Like, but I figure if we take like 10 minutes and just share some of our what's that?
Decompress. Takes a couple minutes to decompress. Yeah. I think my personal favorite moments in this game were obviously more of the character. This was such a character-driven game, which is super nice because not all campaigns can be so, like, I would say you strive for it, but sometimes it's just, you just can't get it there. And like, so my favorite has definitely been like the bond of what started as a little bit of annoyance to super respect from Calypso to Gemma. Hashtag 2 moms. Those I think were like my favorite, getting to watch like their relationship, and then I'm gonna cry all over again and leading up to effectively Gemma redeeming Calypso. That was big. I'm
That's
crying.
huge. The two real standout. I mean, there's so many moments that I loved. I loved the moment when I realized, and this was about an hour after the game session ended, that I had the queen, the princess, the king, the fool, the knight, and a dragon. When Gemma and the group stepped out against the dragon, like it all came together, and I didn't even realize that I had all of those components there until about an hour after the game. The scary space station episode remains one of my favorite because I didn't realize that was what was going on. Again, most of my favorite moments were after the fact that I realized they were my favorite moments. The moment where Jexa was like, "You're not my mom."
You're not my mom, gosh. Stop telling me what to do.
Surprise!
Famous last words.
Right?
And the moment where Gregor definitely became part of the crew when Gregor French fried Kotak.
Yes.
But even that first time when you joined, Alice, when your character joined, when Val joined and ended up on her own in the middle of a noble camp on the outskirts going,
Right.
I don't even know how to play this game yet. What have I gotten myself into?
Let's steal explosives, sneak around, and then run.
Right.
And those explosives came back multiple times to save the crew.
Those explosives are definitely involved in my favorite moment.
Oh no!
It's definitely when Perpetua and I blew up Alestra together.
Brutally killed Alestra.
That was a good team up.
I think one of my favorite moments also involves a grenade. When poor Gemma and Jexa just wanted a market day,
Grenades for the
and
win.
we hit up some stalls, paid too much for a
The
rug.
ugly rug.
Things were going great, and then Gemma ate a grenade. It's just
As your market days tend to go.
apparently market days tend to go. But I think the favorite moments for me are those smaller camaraderie moments where, without trying, I'll echo Lee, Calypso and Gemma, I really wasn't a spoken thing, but became team mom. And we're like, here is someone who's figuring out their way through the world. Let us do what we can to spare them the heartache and the missteps that we have had, but also let them grow. And so that dynamic of, the moments where they're too overbearing, where they're grilling some poor sap for trying to date her, and the moments where they're willing to step back and say, sure, let me cut a hole in the floor, trusting you'll dive in and go save somebody,
Yeah.
because we have been working and living and communing together for this long to say, I have the faith in you that you will do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I have the faith in Calypso that she will do this, like that. And there's the element with Val too. It was just a little bit shorter lived because
Right.
the awesome Val joined us a little later. But those I think were the moments for me, not the big flashy moments. But and then realizing how cool monks are. When getting struck by lightning 3 times and living. That was just a fun mechanic moment for me.
Yeah. Becca, Alice, anything you want to add? Or again, we don't have to. We can bring this to a close.
I was just gonna say, all these moments that people are talking about, I do really enjoy, but ruffled shirt conversations with Gregor were gold.
And the fish tank.
And the fish tank,
the
and yes, a lot of those conversations that I got to just kind of watch Gregor have with other people, and then realizing Gregor's gonna be my stepdad, which means Lucia's my
Graham.
gram.
Not like that.
That was kind of a moment. I was like, oh, I was not expecting this. Ha! All right. So yeah, those were just
Chaperoning.
enjoyable.
That's right, Chad.
Chaperone.
Yeah, when he was willing to blow up a jail because he thought I was in it.
Mhm.
That
It's so
was
good.
really sweet.
Yeah.
Alice, this was your. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say very quickly, I think Gregor is my favorite NPC of like all time.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes.
Close second, Frank.
Yeah.
Yep.
Second for me,
What,
it goes
not Orlington?
Gregor, Francesco.
Yeah.
Do love Francesco.
I do love Francesco. I did love how much you hated Orlington.
It was the first voice, which I don't even know if the stream has really heard, but that first voice just bores its way in and doesn't, yeah.
So slimy.
Yeah.
So slimy.
Sorry, Val, Alice's
Huh?
favorite moments.
You mean Val Van Dorum?
You're gonna make me cry again! I was fine
I'm
until
so
that
stuffy
happened.
right now. It's fine.
I swore I wasn't gonna cry, and then that happened, and I was like, I can't. I mean, joke answer, anything with explosives. Real answer, though, as far as favorite moments, I really liked Lucia's arc in kind of the final arc, because, like, after Falcos has died, I know Alice and Val were both really worried about her, and I know Val was very worried, like, as a character about, like, what's this gonna do to Gregor if he loses both of his parents, and I really liked kind of watching her step back from that ledge of just going off with guns blazing to do something she couldn't do alone, and then choosing kind of her family instead. And I don't know, that just great story moment. Great story moment.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. Well, I have so many people to thank that I don't even know where to start. First of all, thank you to Marty and BC and Mark and JD for guest starring on the show over the last 4 years. That was just you guys were all awesome. To my crew from the Annals of Antioch, I've already thanked you, but let me thank you here again at the end of this campaign. To Evan and Mark again. Lily, you are absent, but you are not forgotten. And to Evan, who played Father Bell, who became such an influential character here in the last third of the campaign. For all of the chat, oh my gosh, thank you guys so much. Like, I know that we've gotten to know a lot of you, and I'm just grateful to have people to interact with and to chat about the games beyond this. To everyone who's become a fan and a friend of Ulysses and the shows, thank you so much. Like, your engagement and the depth of your connection with these characters has meant the world to all of us. To JD, my producer, again, I can't thank you enough. When we started this, this wasn't even the game we were supposed to be playing. I'm not even supposed to be here today. Weird point if you get that reference. You know, that's JD has worked tirelessly to make sure the streams are smooth and look sharp, sound great. So just thank you for that. To Ulysses for letting us stream these. This is awesome. Thank you to Bill for creating this this amazing game that we got to play and hang out and enjoy. And most importantly, thank you to Maddie and Becca and Lee and Alice and Abby for trusting me and this game and this crazy streaming thing and letting me help tell the story of the crew of the Oh Boii. It is one of my favorite stories that I have ever told on this side of the screen. And I just want you guys to know that.
Thank
So-
you to you for running it and for pouring so much of your time and energy and heart into this story.
Yes.
It would not have been what it was without you at the helm. So
Yes.
thank you.
I appreciate that. Like, no, I'm gonna cry.
Don't do it.
But
Once you
Rook is
start-
going to bed, which means we all have to go to bed.
It's true.
So
If we stay up
this is-
past Rook's bedtime, we all turn into pumpkins.
that's right. And don't eat after Rook goes to bed, I think is the other
Yeah.
rule.
No.
So this brings the streams on the Ulisses International channel to an end for 2021. We will be back at some point in January with a new studio, new games, new faces. I hope to have all of you join us. If you like the games that we run, if you like Ulisses, if you like what we do, please tell people about it. Where metrics being what they are, when getting people to follow the channel, to subscribe on YouTube. These are things that help us kind of judge how well the streams are doing and how effective the games and the stories that we're telling are. Not just from not that you guys, if you guys were the only ones out there, that this would still be a exercise and a story worth telling. But yeah, so and also please go check out the Ulisses store. Fading Suns is available in their F shop. We will be back in 2022. Ooh, I can do it. Until next time, I'm JM, your GM. This is the crew of the Oh Boii. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay gaming. We'll see you next year.